welcome to Deaf Awareness Month. In this video we're going to be talking about things that so many of us obviously enjoy, and that is what? Technology. You'd have to at least like technology or love technology to a degree if you're on YouTube, I think. At least a little bit. Whether you're actually working on something that's kind of YouTube related or technology related, or if you're just somebody who really loves your iPhone and loves to play games on it. Speaking of iPhone, this video is actually going to be about how Apple technology is very helpful for people who are deaf or hard of hearing. Really, Apple is also very helpful for those who are blind. My friend James Rath has a video about Apple technology and it went very viral, so definitely check that out because it's a really good video if you're curious about how it helps people who are blind. But I am the deaf one and this video is about me because this is my channel and I'm selfish, so we're gonna talk about me and people like me. For the record, I have used Android in the past. I used to own an HTC phone, and when I was in Toronto, the last month that I was in Toronto, I used a Samsung. Honestly, I very much prefer Apple products. But I'm not here to make a little war between the Apple people and the Android people. Although I will just say that frankly, if you want to go the accessibility route, Apple is going to be your friend. So I do have a handful of Apple products. When I was younger, I used to buy a few iPods. I've had 2 classics in my life, and I did own the iPod Touch at some point, which I traded for the iPad, which I sold, and I'll explain that in a minute. So I have a MacBook, an Apple Watch, 2 iPhones actually, and an iPad. Again, we'll get more into detail because I know that sounds a little excessive. Now, really, once you've had multiple Apple products, they all kind of do the same thing, and it's almost kind of unnecessary, but each product has its own little thing, I guess. Some are kind of the same, just probably more portable, which is, yes, actually the case. So let's just get into a little bit of detail. This is the Apple Watch. FYI, this is not actually mine. I am loaning this on an editorial loan program. But what I really like about having an Apple Watch is, one, it would track my calories, which I have been terrible at. Who wants a body image video later? And I also really like this for letting me know when I have a text message. I often wear jeans, I often wear things with pockets, so I put my phone in my pocket, which is great because then I don't have to hold it all the time. But the downside is, when it vibrates, I don't always know when I have a notification, and then if something is important, like if I have to pick up my dad from work, or if somebody needs me for something, if work is contacting me and they need something ASAP, sometimes I miss that text message because my pocket is muffling the vibration. So this, when it's on my wrist, it does a pretty strong buzz, and then I know, oh hey, somebody is trying to contact me. Now, while I wouldn't recommend this, it also works pretty well if you're on the go, if you're driving, and then you feel like, if you see a name like briefly, then you think it's something important, then you know you should probably pull over. Do not text and drive, do not call and drive, do not glide and drive. In case you don't get that last one, Glide is an app that you use for video chatting with people. Basically, don't sign or call and drive. Pull over. Okay? Do that. It really comes in handy and it looks cool, and I'm all about a cool looking watch. I'm gonna miss you when you go. For the MacBook, I have a MacBook Pro 15-inch. It's downstairs. I'm not gonna carry it all the way up here. But I love the MacBook. 1, it works very, very well for my video editing. 2, every time I have a notification, mostly in text messages, I can't hear a beep. People mostly get a beep, I'm pretty sure, when like Facebook notifications come on or a text message comes on, which is another thing that I also like. Text messages on the phone, on a computer, they come together and it's great. Beatles reference. But because I can't hear the beep, I would maybe be able to when I'm wearing earphones. Just in case, whenever I get a notification, the entire screen flashes. It's just something a little brief that lets you know, hey, you have a message coming in, phone call coming in, whatever, and honestly, it's beautiful. And then I have the iPad. I got this one from VidCon from being a feature creator last year, and then, you know, you got some phones. This one, the smaller iPhone 6 is actually mine, or the one that I'm actually paying for. And then this one, the iPhone 6s Plus, is also on editorial loan. So I've just been using this because I have it. Really, these are not much different from the MacBook, other than the fact that these are more portable than a MacBook. I haven't really noticed too much of a difference with them, honestly. Just the size. The size is absolutely glorious. So let's talk about Apple in general. There are a couple things that are coming out that are absolutely awesome. One thing is that the new update that's coming out, the iOS 10 or something, it's coming out with a TTY feature. And culturally deaf people know that TTY is so old school, it's almost laughable. Like, hardly anybody uses TTY anymore. But it is a very, very good feature for those who don't use ASL and for those who aren't quite fluent in ASL yet, aka me. I loved the TTY when I was growing up because I could call people when I needed to without having to go what over and over and annoying them and also annoying me. So when that update gets released, I'm gonna try it out and there'll be a separate video on that, but I'm sure it's gonna be pretty fancy. One other thing that's also really good about Apple is FaceTime. It's like a culturally deaf person's best friend, a signer's best friend. You do the video calls that way. It's great. And of course you have Glide, which if your FaceTime doesn't cooperate, you have Glide. I can't use FaceTime on my MacBook because ever since the very first day I got my MacBook, the webcam it doesn't work. It freezes all the time. So I can't do any business calls or anything on my computer. I tried the codes, nothing worked. Another really cool thing is that if you go to the App Store, they have like their accessibility page now. So people who are blind, people who are deaf or hard of hearing, and I think there may be a few other things, but there's just a bunch of apps that are accessible. I'll leave a link down below so you can take a look at all the apps that are available. Another great thing about Apple, and I know Android doesn't have this because people on iMedia and basically anywhere on Facebook are always yelling at me in iMedia for the lack of captions on there when they're using Android phone. If you go into the settings, there's the accessibility part in your settings, and then you just turn on the captions for deaf and hard of hearing, and then that makes the captions pop up on anything that you can think of. Now, I've actually tried it on YouTube. Sometimes the captions automatically pop up on YouTube, sometimes they do not. However, on Facebook, they do, for the most part, pop up automatically. And really, I think that's it as far as technology goes. Honestly, as expensive as Apple can be, if you can afford it, okay, I'm not going to tell you to drop a dime if you can't afford it. Obviously, some priorities are more of a priority, right? But if you can afford it, honestly, I just much prefer Apple. A lot of my deaf friends, a handful of them, they also prefer Apple. When I was talking to Jules about getting a MacBook for the first time because I just wanted to try something new and something more accessible for me for later on down the road, she said that Apple is a deaf person's best friend. And for me personally, I believe that. But hey, to those of you that do have Android, because while I'm not a stranger to Android, I'm also not very familiar with it because honestly, Android to me was like a brand new language and I couldn't really understand it. If there are accessibility features in Android, just let me know. I know not all apps are probably going to be on the Google Play Store? Yeah, I think so. If you're someone who needs accessibility in your technology, let me know how well Android does that in the comments, okay? If you want to follow me on all of my social media, links to that will be down below. If you want to support me monthly on Patreon to get, fun little gifts and letters, and to also help me with, funding stuff for YouTube and business, public speaking, whatever, link to that will also be down below. I upload every Monday and Thursday unless otherwise stated, and I will see you later. Bye!